So my holy grail camera is a Hasselblad XPAN. I just think it's the most incredible feat of engineering. Every camera and piece of technology now is trying to be everything at once. Even my Fuji X100 VI, which is somewhat of a minimalist camera with a fixed lens, is also trying to be a video camera with inbuilt image stabilization and shooting F-Log 10-bit video. But there's a place in my heart for pieces of technology that are so specialist and purpose-built for a single thing, and that's what the XPAN system represented. It's literally Fujifilm and Hasselblad together, building a system from the ground up just to take the best film panoramas that money could possibly buy. I mean, what's not to love about that? The only issue is, these days, is the price. I can't justify buying one, it's just too expensive, especially when repairs are so difficult. Sometimes you could end up spending £3,000 on something that's going to be a very expensive paperweight. So where does that leave me? I don't want to give up on my film panorama dreams, and instead I've been searching online for different ways to accomplish this. And this is the latest one that I've found. This is the Pentax Espio 115G. And it's a pretty cool compact camera. You can see here it's pretty capable in its own right. It's got an impressive zoom capability, all the way up to 115mm, hence the name. It can be fully automatic, it's got a bunch of different systems and modes, it's even got autofocus and auto film winding, which is exactly what I want so that I don't get any unexpected film disasters. But why I'm really interested in this camera is it has a panorama mode. If you flip this switch here, it goes from a normal camera to a panorama camera. Now, obviously, this is nothing like the Hasselblad XPAN, but it's something that I wanted to experiment because at least when I look through the viewfinder, I'll get that panoramic mode and I'll be able to live and compose my shots in a way just like the Hasselblad XPAN at a fraction of the cost. But is it any good? Well, let's find out.
So I took this camera to the countryside with Liz, my friend Caroline, and her rather large dog. For those of you familiar with my unease around our canine friends, you'll be pleased to know that Devon is one of the friendliest dogs I've ever met.
No! Don't point it my way.
Camera in hand, we set off on a little hike through the Shropshire Hills. On the wide end, when you do nail focus, I've been really impressed with the results. When you zoom in though, it's a little bit of a different story. This could just be down to the shutter speed though. Time to try again, but a lot more zoomed in this time. Let's see at 115mm how this lens performs. One thing that I was certainly thankful for is just how light this camera is. It's really tiny, it's well made, but it still slips in a pocket and it's easy for me to carry up these hills. So you can see here, autofocus is not brilliant, but it does do the job most of the time. On some of these pure landscape shots where I had landscape mode enabled on the camera, I really like it. I obviously love this format and I think that the results were absolutely amazing for a cheap camera. I think this is one of my favourite pictures from the roll. Obviously it's of Liz, so I enjoy that, but I think the composition and the colours work really well, and the lens has done a really good job of rendering her skin tones.
Zoom on this thing. Such a steal.
Reviewing these shots, it becomes kind of obvious that at the longer focal lengths, this camera does kind of struggle. But still some pleasing images that I was pretty happy with. I still can't quite get over how funny this thing looks when you zoom all the way in, but I enjoyed the versatility a lot. I have to say, my favourite thing from this entire experience is looking through the viewfinder and seeing the panorama so you can compose your image properly. It just is so much better, and you can't compare it to the feeling of cropping in post on a digital camera. I really enjoyed that, and it was a great experience. These are some of my favourite shots from the trip. I shot this roll of Kodak Vision 3, and I think it rendered the yellows and greens really nicely. I think next time I might go for a slightly faster film, just so at the telephoto end of this lens I can get slightly more usable results. Then I can compare the difference and see whether it really was a lens issue or a shutter speed issue. Now, this isn't a camera for high-speed action, but I have 5 shots left and decided to bring it with us on our run the next day.
Is it? He knows where we're going. On a run. Brought my camera with me. It's pretty cool. I've got like 2 shots left.
And this right here might be my favourite shot from the entire trip. It just really captured the feeling of the weekend, and I loved it so much. It looks like a scene from Star Wars, and the colour palette and minimal composition really add to this and just make it one of my favourite shots so far in film. All done, it thankfully auto-rewinded for me, and it was time to drop it off at the film shop, pay ludicrous ECN2 development prices, and then scan the film myself to see if I got any half-decent results.
Now, there are some obvious problems with this camera. The first of all is that the zoom lens is pretty good and versatile, but the further you zoom in, the worse it gets. The sharpness on some of these shots was really not that great, and obviously nothing like a Hasselblad XPAN. So that was a little bit disappointing. The autofocus is also a little bit hit and miss. Many times I would also focus and I would try and fire the flash. I could get rid of this by pressing the mountain mode to signal that I was taking a landscape picture and I didn't need the flash, but that would then automatically focus to infinity on the lens, meaning that my foreground would sometimes be out of focus. It was a little bit clunky and annoying, but I have to say, these pictures were really fun. I was able to relive my fantasy of having a panoramic camera in my hand. It was simple enough that I could slot it in my running vest and take it with me for the weekend. Looking through some of these shots, they just feel so nice and nostalgic. They did a very good job of symbolizing what this weekend was all about. The other thing to note was the ease of use. I really enjoyed this, and it was really simple for me to get great panoramic shots. I really appreciated the fact that the shutters come down when you flick the switch, and when you look through the viewfinder, you get the actual composition which I was a little bit disappointed that there was a soft edge on some of the lines where the shutter comes down. You'll see what I mean in the edit, but it meant that some of the panoramas weren't particularly crisp, but I can live with that. Overall, is this a Hasselblad XPAN alternative? Well, no, obviously not, for all of the reasons that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. It's not that single-purpose specialist tool, handcrafted and built from the ground up for one purpose, to get the best panoramic shots that you could possibly get on any medium. Instead, it's kind of a halfway house. I enjoyed the experience of composing the panoramas and looking through the lens and seeing what I would actually get in a panoramic format. I really enjoyed the film aspect as well, and how baked in those colors are going to be on the different film stocks that you can choose, and how lovely and vivid those colors were that I shot all these pictures with. I can't see there being a realistic Hasselblad XPAN alternative anytime soon, and so something like this, for what I picked it up for, which I think was £35, is going to be what I'm going to be using in the foreseeable future, unless this YouTube channel really takes off, or someone somewhere would like to give me their Hasselblad XPAN, which I would receive very gratefully, I would may add, and make many videos with. Please do reach out if you have a spare one. But in conclusion, it's a little bit of fun. It's a great little camera. It's compact enough to slot in a running vest. I took it with me everywhere all weekend and really enjoyed using it. Some of the shots were great. There's some small quirks around autofocusing and getting the right exposure, etc. But really, if you're looking for something fun, cheap, and pretty good, this camera is pretty awesome. Let me know in the comment section down below, have you found a better Hasselblad XPAN alternative than this one? I'd be interested to know what it was, and maybe I'll go and pick it up and try it for myself. What's your holy grail camera? I'd be interested to know that as well. Am I alone in wanting the Hasselblad XPAN so badly? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I release videos like this every single week, so please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.